Wow, now that's how game music is done right. I still get chills every time I hear that. Hi everyone, for those who don't know me, I'm James, also known as JustaScottishGamer, the Scottish part of 8-Brit. Before we go any further, I just wanted to say thank you for clicking onto our podcast. We really appreciate it and hope you enjoy. So for this podcast, we are going to be starting something new, where every now and then we make podcasts where we focus on one particular game. They will never be deep dives unless we state that it is. It will just be two guys sharing their experiences with that one particular game, and probably add in some funny moments, since we have a habit of breaking games we play. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when that we do that. In this podcast, we'll be talking about Halo Combat Evolved, the game that started the iconic series which revolutionised the first-person shooter on console. We decided to start with Halo Combat Evolved because it was actually the first game Will and I actually completed together, and kicked off our obsession with completing all the Halo campaigns on Legendary. Enough of that, onto the show. Because like I said, we've got full creative control. That's what I love about it. But,
yeah, don't sell the podcast.
Hmm?
Don't sell the podcast unless we get full creative control.
Exactly. But anyway, well, so what have you been up to this week?
What have I been up to?
Yes.
Well, I have played this week. Still continuing with Destroy All Humans. So that's pretty good. Probably haven't got much more to say on that other than it's good. I love the crude humour. Because
that was
I feel like
perfect.
a 12-year-old again watching it. Watch it, I mean playing it.
How far are you into it?
Let's see how many hours I've got. About 4 hours in. So
Well, what kind of level are you on there, would you say?
I can't even remember the name of the levels. I'll just play each one as they pop up. I think I just did the bit where you have to destroy all of the what were the guys with the black suits called again?
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember what it calls in the game. I don't know why instantly KGB popped to my mind, but we know it's definitely not the KGB.
It begins with an M, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna bug me.
I'm gonna have to search it up now.
Oh yeah, definitely. Trying to think when they come into it.
It's quite early into the game. It's after the first few levels.
Oh yeah, isn't it on its where you go to a kind of town by the beach?
That's it.
Yeah,
it is. Majestic.
Ah. Oh yeah, same. I can't believe I forgot that. It's literally just one word. Ironically, they're called Majestic, but yeah, we forgot them. So not really that majestic. But so you're loving that then? Are you just playing it one mission at a time?
One or two. I mean, I didn't really play it like I said, that much this week. Just didn't have time. But yeah, it's still fun. I'm looking forward to to when the second remake comes out, but I probably won't jump on that straight away.
Yeah, like you were saying last time, that you're probably going to wait for it to come down in price.
Probably, yeah. I'll probably just wait till it's cheap on the Steam sale.
Oh, to be honest, it would be close to Christmas one. I think to be honest, see, since it's a remake, I think that it might come in at a lower price range than, the standard games where they're quite, elevated in price. I think it's going to be around about the £30 range. That's what it was for the first one, wasn't it? Because we both got it when it first came out. Or close.
It was the first one was it's only about £25. So
yeah.
It's not too much anyway.
If it's around about that price, I will definitely be any day one.
Yeah, I mean it's only 25 quid, isn't it? So.
Yeah, it's not exactly like £50 like a full game. Where you're like, I think I'll hold off. Oh yeah, I was gonna say that's what I was like with Doom Eternal. Like, I loved Doom 2016. I was like, I've really gotta get Doom Eternal. Every time it came round to like being cheaper but not a sale, I'm like, no, I'll hold off. It was killing me, and then I think you found out that I hadn't played it at that point, and you were just like, I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing?
But I played it. I got around to it. And I
Yeah,
played
I
it.
still have it. I still need to do the DLC on that. I played the bit of the first DLC, but for whatever one reason or another, I stopped playing.
I
And
was the
haven't
same.
touched it since.
See, I was definitely the same because as soon as I completed the campaign, I jumped straight into the DLC. But after a few deaths, I was like, nah, I'm going to pass on it. And it was not because of, like, you know, a lack of skill or anything like that, like, you know, early quitting. It was more that thing of, I'm kind of, when I'm trying to complete a certain, there's games I want to complete, I tend to kind of skip DLC and, like, I will come back to them eventually. But in a sense, obviously, because I've got more games to play. Like, for example, Horizon Zero Dawn. I completed that, and I talked about that in the last podcast. And I platinumed it, and I didn't go into the DLC really. I did go into the DLC a little bit, and it was just because I found out that you can upgrade something that you can't upgrade in the actual base game. So I was like thinking, fuck it, I'll try that because it looks like it's at the beginning. Oh, I was wrong. Basically, I wasted 2 hours in the DLC just so I can upgrade something that I end up literally feeling like it isn't upgraded at all. But it was cool.
Ouch.
Don't get me wrong. Like, if you we do get around to Horizon Zero Dawn and you're not rushed to play any other game after it, do play a DLC because, like I said, I haven't played it all the way through, but it does look like it is a good DLC and it's not tacked on, and it is a decent size map, and it is harder. So there is a difficulty spike which I was enjoying, and it does introduce new machines like demonic kind of machines and stuff like that, which they've got their own kind of weaknesses and stuff like that. And yeah, they do make a difference because when I was getting to about level 40s, even when I was level 50, to be honest, see the hardest machines in the game, the base game,
Yeah.
I could destroy them. See, to be honest, even at level 30, where it recommends you're at because that's what level they are, you still take them out easy. It's just but they become a bit more, lack of a better term, spongy. But it's not because it's like, you know, it's poor, you know, kind of design mechanics or anything like that. It's just because they are bigger creatures and they are more damaging. Well, they're more damaging and can take more hits. But that's because, like I said, they're bigger and they feel more threatening because there is only a select few, whereas in the weaker ones, there's like fucking like 500 million of them kicking about. You see them every 2 seconds. But yeah, enough of that side tangent. On to Horizon Zero Dawn. What else were you going to say there before I rudely jumped in?
It's alright. Yeah, I think the main reason for Doom Eternal why I stopped playing is because obviously there's quite a big difficulty spike with the first DLC, and I hadn't played the game for a good chunk of time when the DLC came out, so I felt like, you know, if I'm going to play the DLC, I need to go back and play through the entire campaign again, just to get used to it.
No, definitely. Because I remember when I did take a wee break through Doom Eternal. But that's because as in like work was getting a bit more hectic, so I wasn't able to jump on. And just jumping back into it, and it was like only 3 missions in, it felt like, oh god, like trying to get used to it, all the moving and stuff like that. Because you feel like when you're going back and then jump back into it, it's like, okay, I gotta remember to move. You know, it's all about maneuverability. But when you actually jump out, you're getting hit, even though you're moving.
Yeah, it's a very intense game.
Yeah, you have to be in the feel of it, like.
But very fun.
Oh yeah.
Very fun. Yeah, other than that, also finished. I know I'm very late to the party, but I finally played Portal 1 and beat that. So I'm only. How long the game's been out?
I think 2006.
Over 10 years.
No, not 2006, 2008 or something like that.
2007, I think it was.
Something like that, but definitely late to the party, but better late than never.
Yeah, 2007.
And then you found out the cake is a lie.
I did.
So,
I was disappointed. I wanted cake.
I know. It is truly heartbreaking.
For saying it's only a short game, because I think it took me about 3 hours to beat.
Oh yeah,
like
I think yeah.
But yeah, it's good. The puzzles are well made. GLaDOS is great.
Oh yeah, definitely standout character.
I love the humour.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing playing the next one at some point.
Oh, definitely, because with because you were saying like obviously you complete it in 3 hours. I agree with you. It is a short game, but it doesn't take away from it. Like you're happy even if it is a short game. But I feel it's
there is those. They released some harder maps or something, didn't they, for it?
Oh yeah.
Complete.
I can't remember what they are. But yeah, it's like I think they're referred to as impossible levels. Obviously, quotation marks around the impossible because they're not impossible, obviously, because impossible enough to complete.
Maps, yeah, that's what they were called, weren't it?
Yeah. But the thing is, though, is with it going obviously completing it fast. I think if you are a gamer, like as in you've played like a lot of games, especially puzzle games, I feel like it does kind of just click. With you, in puzzle app, because the reason I say that is because I remember Portal 2 that I was proud I completed it like 11 hours like one day, to be honest, because I was like I started on a weekend kind of thing. It was like back when it first came out, and there was a guy in my year, he loved to rub it in like how smart he was. So he was like academically. Yeah, so is, and I was just like, oh yeah, I've completed this in 11 hours. No bragging, just as I was talking about it. He was I've played it for longer than I'm still nowhere near finish. I was just like a wee smirk inside. I was like, yep. But the thing is, I put that down to just because of the fact of like I've been a gamer my whole life. I've played puzzle games, stuff like that, so I'm naturally more inclined to deal with stuff like that. As well as also like we've talked about when you're a gamer that you do pick up certain skills. And stuff like that, like their hand-eye coordinations and stuff like that, but also puzzle making, because it's like if you play games like COD, and like actually scrap that, talk about Doom, you have to make a lot of split decisions into what you gotta do, where have I gotta move, where's that enemy, such and such, am I gonna use this weapon. Like you've got to process a lot of information quick. So even though Portal is not a time sensitive kind of thing, like you have to go fast, but it kind of brings in that problem solving. So it does. And, but the good thing is, like, have you played Portal 2? Have you played any of it at all?
I played a bit of the multiplayer, the co-op rather, a very long time ago.
Did you complete it?
No. I might have done actually, but that was back in the Xbox days.
Ah, yes, good old days.
So yeah, it's been a very long time.
Did you ever play the solo part of it?
I think I did, but again, not a great deal.
Because I was going to say, is the beautiful thing about Portal 2 is see the solo and the co-op experience. Very different in story and everything.
Yeah. I know they're both completely separate.
Which I love.
Yeah, I'll get round. Maybe I'll start it by the time the next podcast. But yeah, other than that, I started Shadow of Mordor as well. But I'm only an hour into that, so I'm in a bit of a Lord of the Rings mood at the minute because obviously we've got Rings of Power coming out again.
Really soon?
Yeah, it starts in September, I think.
Yeah, something like that. So, early September, late September. Yeah, I think it's late.
Cautiously optimistic is the best way to describe that one, but I won't go into that.
Yeah, we'll save that.
That's a completely different topic.
Yeah, we'll save that when we're doing kind of film and TV podcasts.
Yeah, I've not really got too much more to say. How about you? What have you been up to?
Well, for me, I have been very busy. So I have, because with work, so as and obviously seeing my girlfriend, and I've not really had much time to gaming, but it's also because of another reason, which I'm like, don't get me wrong, I'm happy with, and that is the fact of I was editing our first podcast. It took longer than it takes me to edit anything else, but it was more of it because it was a learning experience. So it was. Yeah. But it got all edited and everything, and the tips I've picked up with that, has definitely helped with how we're going to basically conduct podcasts from now on. But yeah, it's going to speed up the process and make it easier. It means I can pop out faster, as well as also I can play some more games because, like I was mentioning last week, I was playing Stray, so I was only half an hour in, but that's all I've played really. So I'm now like 3.5 hours in, so only 3 hours playtime, so not a lot. But that is because
it's not very long either, though, is it?
Oh yeah, it's pretty short because I did look at the chapter select and it says I've only got 2 more chapters to go.
Right, yeah.
So and I think there's like 8 chapters, give or take a few. But I'm still playing that, but that's because I'm taking my time, getting immersed in it, completing everything as I go along. Like I'm trying to get immersed in the world, like talk to stuff and all that. I'm not trying to rush through it. So because I was considering just rushing through it at first, just get a feel of it since it was going to be a short game.
Yeah.
And then go through it, but as soon as I got to the first bit where it's not on rails, it was, more open worldy. Like, it's not open world, but it was an area where you could explore so you can and do stuff. So it was like a wee mini open world, lack of a better term.
It's like yeah.
But it was good. I was getting immersed in it. It's beautiful. Yeah, so I would class it as an adventure game. So like, I don't know if I said last time, like I figured it was gonna be a bit of a platformer or anything like that, but it's definitely not a platformer.
Yeah, it definitely does look good. I mean, it's probably not something I'm not gonna pick up unless it's on sale. But
oh yeah,
I'll get around to it. It does look pretty good.
I definitely do recommend it. But I do agree with you. If you're going to pick up in PC, for example, definitely wait for it to come down to the sale. You will love it, so you will. But I would definitely wait for that. But also, though, if you do get around to maybe picking up like PlayStation Extra, as you get free with that as well.
Right, okay.
Which I feel was a nice kind of benefit. I wasn't expecting that off the bat. To be honest, I still wish I got PlayStation Extra instead of Premium, but we won't talk about that. But at the same time, I don't because there's going to be more games coming out. Because I think there's also people are talking about that the Dino Crisis is going to come out on it, which I will love. Yes, I will. But to be honest, not a major selling point for me because, as you know, I can just play that right now. I don't need to wait for PlayStation to add on.
Yeah, that's true. I'm still on the basic one, to be honest. I just, for the amount of time I use it, I just don't see the point in upgrading at the moment. Maybe I will eventually, but just right now, it's like most of the games that are on there I've got on PC anyway, so.
See, the thing that kind of pushed me over to do it, as in getting extra at least, was Stray, Returnal, Ghost of Tsushima. But as in, I know you, for example, you've got Ghost of Tsushima. I don't think you got Returnal, have you?
No.
So that could be a selling point for you, but it's
mainly because it just hasn't come down in price at all.
Yeah, oh god, it's still...
Even when it's on sale, it's still like 50 odd quid.
Oh yeah. But it's just because it is a PS5 exclusive and it's still doing very well. So I doubt we'll see that.
It's going to PC now, isn't it? At some point?
I don't know. I hope so, though.
It's just a rumour.
Because to be honest, I'd rather play it in PC. And it is literally just because of the fact of, you know me, when it comes to first person and third person shooters, I'm terrible when it's a controller. I mentioned.
Same. Yeah.
Just use keyboard and mouse.
Anything with a controller on it, it's just... anything that's a shooter on PlayStation now, or playing it with a controller, I just can't. It's like when you have that one relative that doesn't play games, so they use a controller, and you just see them struggling. It's like they can't move and look around at the same time. It's like that's how I feel now.
Oh, same.
You get used to mouse and keyboard too much.
Oh yeah. Is there anything else you want to in games you've been playing or anything you want to talk to before we move on to the main part of this?
That's pretty much me done. Like I said, I haven't really played that much this week either. Pretty boring, to be honest. But hey ho.
Well, at least we've made kind of progress in games. But enough of us talking about the games we're, playing this week. Now we've got to move on to the main part of this. And that is the thing that all of us have been waiting for. And that is the Halo Combat Evolved part of it. So, with this, I was kind of a bit unsure of how we're actually going to start this. Because, well, we can talk about the story and stuff like that, but to be honest, there's not much point in it, because everyone who's going to be interested in jumping into a Halo Combat Evolved podcast going to know the story. But so I was thinking about making this semi-formal. Like, I was thinking what we could do is we could talk through all the missions. And we'll talk about obviously our unique experiences, because we do have a lot of experience of playing Halo Combat Evolved, not with each other, but we do have a lot of experience playing Halo together. And that was a fact of obviously when we first played Combat Evolved together, which was our first game that we played together, we decided to go, fuck it, we're playing a Legendary.
Why not?
Exactly. Gotta get that legendary achievement some way, so. But, okay, so the first mission to kick off is Pillar of Autumn, which obviously is a very iconic level, just due to the fact of it is the very first time we ever see the very first time we see and we play as Master Chief. So is there anything you want to talk about before we kick this off on Pillar of Autumn?
Did you ever play the non-MCC version of?
I might have as a kid, because I know for a fact my dad played it on PC. So I did. I never played it on the original Xbox. I've never played any Halo on the original Xbox. So like I say, my first experience with Halo was Halo 3. So I never had any previous experience with it.
When I was younger, I only really played. Well, the first ones that I played was Halo 3 and then Halo Reach. And then, obviously, not long after Halo Reach came out, the remastered version of Combat Evolved came out, which I played when I was younger. So that was my first experience with it. I don't really remember too much about. I don't think I ever finished it.
If you're anything like me, probably not, because I had the tendency of jumping from game to game when I was a kid, well, younger.
Oh, yeah, same. Yeah, I don't think I lasted on any game for more than an hour before I went on to something else.
Okay, so Pillar of Autumn, like I mentioned, obviously, very first time you play as the Master Chief. You wake up to the Pillar of Autumn just exploding, and you definitely do find out that it's not the chef, trying out new experimental recipes or anything like that, but it is in fact the Covenant as boarded the ship. And for this level, I really enjoyed this level. So I did. I think it was a nice introduction to Halo. So it is, and that's me coming off of my own Halo experience of where I started with Halo 3 and I actually played Reach and all that before I even played Combat Evolved. So I felt very familiar with it, and I felt it was a nice start and everything. And one thing I got to mention is how well it handled, like how smooth everything was. So it was, even though that's not like itself connected to the Pillar of Autumn, I just wanted to say that part, because no matter what Halo game you play, it's always nice butter smooth in how you play it. But the one thing I did want to also point out in the Pillar of Autumn is that was kind of a bit unique to us. We also had an achievement to do in this where we got to complete it with no heals, which was quite an interesting experience.
That bit where you get to part where you're in that circular hall and there's just like 5-6 elites at the top with the grenades. That area is always annoying, but yeah, Pillar of Autumn. It's obviously level's okay.
Yeah, it's a good level.
It's a good first introduction, but it's nothing. I mean, the level's nothing particularly special, but obviously, first time playing Halo and the introduction to Master Chief, Cortana and the Covenant. Why are they attacking you? But yeah, it's okay. They'll probably rate it about 5. It's don't really have too much to say about it. It's
Yeah. See, to be honest, like, I don't expect many people to have much to say on it, obviously, because, like you're mentioning, it's the introduction to it. It's meant to have you kind of intrigued, finding out, basically everything in the game. Because as you start, you're being waken up from cryostasis. You're finding everything's exploding, and the first thing you do is you make your way to the command kind of part of the ship, where Keys is, and he basically gives you your orders. After he deals with that, you get to pick up weapons, and then as soon as you pick up weapons, you're met with grunts and elites, which is a nice staple enemies through the series. You don't count. I'm pretty sure you don't count it. Do you encounter any jackals in the first level? I can't remember. No, you don't know. Do you?
God, you're making me trying to remember that.
Oh no.
It just shows how long it's been since I played Combat Evolved because I barely play it.
Exactly. But when you do that, you gotta make your way through the Covenant, and obviously you're going through corridors, but then you start going through events, little event kind of areas. Well, obviously we can stand, so it's not really full events, but it's little corridors, and you're just kind of making your way to a drop pod to kind of get to the first major level, I would say, of the game.
Halo is a level. It's great. I mean, well, yeah, for a second level, it's pretty good. It's like introducing the ring, just adding more mystery.
I feel Halo was a really good mission, just because of the fact of as soon as you drop down to the ring, you get the drop pod, and you got to make your way through the level, and you've got to help all the Marines that drop down as well. You got to collect them up so you can all get back together. So you have, and when you're doing that, how it goes is you'll go through the level, you'll meet a little point where you got to hold off against enemies that are being dropped off by swords. I'm not 100% sure about that, but the one thing that I do know that was quite interesting about that is for the swords and how they were coded in. They weren't really actually coded in. What I actually had was one of the game makers actually had to fly them in. So they did. That's how they.
Yeah, I remember you saying about yeah.
And when I found out about that, I was like, "Oh, that's actually pretty amazing," because obviously they had to do a workaround because they couldn't code it in. So I thought that was actually quite a good, way of doing it, and it's a nice, interesting thing about the scene, behind the scene, because obviously you wouldn't think that way because you're used to a lot of stuff being scripted, and also you can't exactly fly it yourself, so you don't assume anyone could fly it. But obviously, people that are making the games, they're going to be able to fly anything they want because they can code it. But anyway, as soon as you do that and defend it off against them, a pelican comes in and drops a warthog. And when it drops a warthog, this is when you're introduced to the first kind of driving mechanics of the game. And this is...
I love the Halo driving mechanics.
It's an interesting experience. It's kind of I would say driving on ice in a way.
Yeah, that's just putting it lightly. We all love the Warthog.
Oh yeah.
As much as it is a pain to drive, it's still great.
Mm-hmm. And it is definitely the main part of a lot of our laughs, just because of the fact of I've accidentally murdered you in it about, let's just put in a ballpark of about 500 times, just by accidentally lightly tapping you with it. And that's me trying to be nice, of course. Just move up so you can get into it, and I accidentally just graze your left toe.
Yeah, or I'm not in it and you've driven away, but then because of the horrible teleport system that Halo has, and then I get teleported in front of you and you just run me over. It's like, yeah, thanks game.
And it's just, to be honest, I wouldn't take it out. It just adds to it.
It's brilliant. Of course, as well, just trying to get the Warthog into the cutscenes. So it's all rendered in game.
Definitely.
That's something that I think everybody always tries to do.
Oh yeah, especially us. It's quite worrying how much time that we waste in trying to get that to happen.
Well, you've got to do something
Exactly.
other than actually play the game. But
Well, exactly. What's the point of playing a game correctly? You know,
nah, don't need to do that.
if a game wanted you to play it correctly, they wouldn't put in so many fun mechanics. But
Just don't kill the Marines. Or
yes,
legendary.
yeah, we learned that the hard way. But I'll get onto that a little bit later. As we're playing Halo, in the mission, and you get the Warhawk for the first time. As you're driving along, you're going down. You start to go down a little hill, and you discover an area that Cortana, I want to say, makes a very scientific statement about it, lack of a better term, but I wouldn't say so. You basically come up to an alien kind of tunnel made by them, and she has a bright idea to say, well, that's not a natural formation. I can't remember, is that how the quote goes?
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Cortana's a bit slow.
To be honest, she's like that for the majority of the first Halo.
Oh yeah, like, see, to be honest, see a lot of quotes that we do, we quote like a lot, and it's all thanks to Cortana. Yeah, as you're going through that, you've got to obviously go through the tunnel system and unlock a little bridge that takes you to the next area. And this is where obviously you're going to pick up the rest of the Marines that were the drop pods. And it's basically split up into 3 locations. One of them's going to this little structure bit where you got to take out all the Covenant and then make your way down into a little kind of tunnel system. I'm going to be saying tunnel system a lot. It's how I describe stuff. Apparently it's underground. But it's a part of the structure that's underground. And you've got to get the Marines from there and then bring them up. And then make sure all the Covenant's dead so a Pelican can come down and pick them up. But the thing is, if you don't pick them up, if the Marines mysteriously die, as we find out, you still pass that area. So, one thing I'm going to quickly add in is that me and you tried to attempt to lasso. So we did. And would you like to tell everyone how we thought we were cheating the level during lasso?
Don't know what you went about. It went really well.
No certain deaths?
I can't even remember what we did. I think I tried. I think I wanted a magnum of one of the Marines because I died. Then you don't respawn with the magnum. I mean, I did try to get it off my dead body, but I think you walked over it and ended up getting the ammo.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then we made the mistake. So from there forth, every single Marines that we encountered, we ended up killing because, well, they were just killing us, and then so that was fun.
Oh, definitely, because we basically thought we discovered a loophole of killing these Marines and basically clear the area.
We don't have to get through the areas quicker.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about the Covenant or anything. But
That's karma.
But the side effect is, the Marines are like, nah, we're going to kill you. And we were like thinking, maybe it was just aim. Oh, no. What we found out is every single Marine the rest of that mission wants to kill us. So, we had an interesting lasso experience, where when we moved to the next location, which is also a structure, but this time they're up on a hill, they were trying to kill us too. So, it was literally an uphill battle, so to speak.
I'm pretty sure one of them has a sniper in that area as well.
Yep,
so
they do.
That was fun.
But the thing is, that one, we did die a few times, but overall it wasn't difficult. Because we took it slow. We took out the Covenant first, then we took out the Marines. The difficult part was when we went on to the last bit, where it's a big, nice open valley with a little bit of, structure, well, not structure, well, a little bit of, like, cliffside.
And again, a couple of Marines with snipers.
Yes, that's when we met our kind of match, because while we were trying to deal with Covenant, and behind us, we are also trying to get up a hill with 1 or 2 Marines with snipers. And the thing is, we're playing lasso. So basically, if any one of us dies, we both get reset to the last checkpoint. because of the Iron Skull. But we did it. It was a painful, painful level, and I think it took us about 2 hours. But it was fun.
Yeah, that last area we got stuck on for quite a while, but it wasn't even like we didn't particularly struggle with the area in general until the very end. I'd say like the last couple of drop ships.
Oh yeah.
And then it just went in like we were pretty sure we were under an hour at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just went all downhill from there. And then we finished the level in like an hour and 45 or something.
Not
just
long.
because that last couple of bits
Yeah, it was literally because of...
took us ages.
Yeah, it was literally because I think... But obviously, you know, we're basically tied to the same health bar in the sense of if you die, I die. Or, you know, vice versa.
Yeah, because you don't really regenerate health, do you, in
No.
Halo 1? You have to get the health pickups, which is a bit of a pain, but
Yeah, but...
that's probably what makes it harder in some ways
Exactly.
compared to the other games, just because of the health system in that game. Shield is basically non-existent, but so as soon as you have one bar of health left, that's it. It's like one bullet kills you near enough.
Exactly. So, especially because obviously, with the black ice skull on, your shields don't recharge unless you melee someone. So that's obviously a painful experience. But there's also one skull we're kind of forgetting about to mention, and that is also the one famous skull. There's two. Covenant weapons.
Yeah.
And that's also complemented with the famous skull, where you have got any weapon you pick up has next to no ammo in it.
Oh, of course, yes. I remember now. That's why we killed all the Marines. Ammo.
Yep. The true skills.
Fuck class though, man. On CE.
Oh yeah. and that's what we did in the second mission. The third mission.
Yeah, Truth and Reconciliation.
Yeah, because as soon as you complete Halo, which is literally as soon as you basically recover all the Marines, all the sites, at the last very site you get picked up in the Pelican. With or without Marines, we decided to choose without Marines because who needs Marines? We got the Master Chief. But yes, Truth and Reconciliation, which I've got to say is not really... I'm not a big fan of level, to be honest. Maybe a controversial opinion, but not really a big fan.
It's okay. I like it. I like the level. It is one of the longer levels. I would say this one and the two betrayals and Assault on the Control Room are probably the longest levels in the game. But yeah, I think on my notes on this one for this level, I've literally got for the legendary, and that's a bit fuck this level.
Yeah, that basically sums it up because don't get me wrong. Okay, when I say I'm not a big fan of this level, I actually like the first half of this level. It's the second half I don't like because of the first half. It's nice. You're on the ring and you're kind of just fighting through kind of sandy, not sandy, but sandy kind of canyon areas. And
you get a sniper, and sniper levels in Halo have always been my favourite.
It's nice and fun. It's stealth until you shoot, obviously, because there's no silencers or anything on it. But it's nice and fun. It felt like an interesting kind of challenge, because you've got obviously different, you know, levels in the terrain, so there's a lot to hide around. There's an invisibility pick up in it, and it's all fun until you get to the very last part of it where you got to hold them off. That's still fun. It's what's after it's not fun, but as soon as you go through all that level, all the way, you know, little enemies you encounter, you got to fight off a few groups and then a few groups of hunters, which is all nice and fun. It's when you get picked up from the mothership, as I'm calling it, referring to, but it's really you get to go up through the lift system to get to the ship. But before I go on to that, is there anything you want to talk about the first half of the level?
The grav lift. I could just end it right there. But no, I really enjoyed the first part of the level up until the grav lift part. To be honest, I always thought they could have separated the levels. Actually, could they?
I think they could have, but
no, because then it ends up being a bit too short.
But I think they could just hold, because I think they're around about the same length as the first mission. But the first part of the half and all that, I enjoyed it. And but to be honest, though, it's where we died in our lasso playthrough, as in we just quit. Because after an hour and a half of trying, we decided to quit just because we spent half an hour stuck in the same. Was it?
It was like nearly 3 hours by the time we got to the grav lift.
I think I stopped paying attention to the timer then.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah, we spent so long just to the same checkpoint.
Yeah, I think the hardest part for doing that on lasso was running out of ammo.
Yeah, we had to resort to just I grabbed invisible and then invisibility and I run. Yeah, and hope it teleports you. I did twice, I think.
I think if we go through and do it again, there's definitely ways of doing it anyway without using as much ammo and killing stuff, because...
Yeah, well, when we do go through it, which we will probably end up streaming, because we need to go back to streaming.
It makes it 10 times harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hardest bit anyway on Legendary, I find, is when you go up in the grav lift, you have to do that, like that wave.
Yes.
Go through the waves of the enemies before you go through the rest of the ship.
Yeah, definitely, because you're met with beautiful elite enemies. I'm going to say beautiful because I want to put a more harsher word there, but I'm trying to stay away from that negativity because I hate those certain elites so much.
Yeah, I'll try not to be too negative about it, but Truth and Wreck is...
bullshit.
Yeah, it's a pain, but I like it. You get to go in the spaceship. When I was younger, that was cool.
The thing is with that there is, the only reason to be honest, I do dislike it is not because of the actual enemies or anything, or even those special elites, which they're invisible with energy swords. It's the fact of when you do get to the ship, I just feel like it goes on and on. It's just the same over and over again. Near enough. Yeah, I feel if you cut it in half, it would be more enjoyable.
But I'll bring it up again when we get to the library. But yeah, I guess one of the big criticisms with CE is the fact that the level design isn't particularly great at times. Because a lot of the areas just look the same and there's barely any variation.
Yeah.
It's like, it feels like, I mean, fair enough, you're on an alien spaceship, but it just all looks like the same corridors.
Yeah. It's something you could definitely get lost in if you aren't paying attention. Or like really pushing through.
I always get lost in the bit where you have to go rescue keys from the like in the prison area.
Oh, definitely. Because that was the thing when we were last time we were playing it and all that, we were just having a wee casual playthrough, like it's not on Legend or anything. We actually got confused what room was. We were like, oh, here it is. This is the room where he's in, and it's like, wait, hold on, why is it not here? It's like, oh fuck, it's the other room.
Yeah, I'd rate this level a 4 and a fuck you.
Out of 10?
Out of 10.
So, yeah, I just realised I've not been saying any level 1s. Okay, so for the Pillar Autumn, I would say it's a 7 out of 10. Halo, I would say it's an 8 out of 10. Truth and Reconciliation, I would say is a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, for me so far, I would go 5 and then 8 because I really like Halo. Truth and Wreck, 4. Yeah. Apart from the first bit that I liked, like I said, but the rest of it, no, don't like it.
So we'll go into the next level.
Yeah, Sonic Cartographer. I actually really like this level.
Oh yeah,
it's fun.
I would agree.
Especially since I think this is the one we spent the most on trying to get the warthog down the
Yeah.
down to the control rooms, which we did. We managed to get it in the cutscene,
Exactly.
and then we got it all the way back out. Did we get it back out again?
No, we nearly did.
Or did we get it stuck?
We got it stuck. Yeah, because it came to a bit where it couldn't go any further.
It's the really thin bit.
Exactly. And we take it down to a little platform where it brings us to our first cutscene, and we see the warthog there. We're happy, obviously, because we've got a warthog in it, but then it's game time. Basically, what is that how we go the warthog all the way down to the bottom is we go into the nice little platform with it, and then we go slowly, and then all of a sudden we just drive as fast as we can, and we hope we land on the platform that's down below.
Yeah, it's the bit where you activate the. Do you activate the button at the top, don't you? From what I remember. Then from there, we just drive off to the bottom just to skip.
Yeah, because we got to activate the map or something like that.
Yeah, before you come back up.
Yeah, and then that's when the last time we played it, we actually streamed it, and we tried to make our way back up, which was an interesting experience, and we actually got really far. But the thing that stopped us was a certain thin path. We got through one of the bits had the thin path at first, but the reason why we couldn't do this one is because it was a thin path all the way around the room, so it was impossible for us to get the warthog around.
No, we need to try that again on the stream.
Oh yeah, we will be. It's going to be a staple. It'll be the staple of every time we play that.
Plus, it doesn't help if you want to go run off somewhere, but then the teleport system in that game just drags you back. You're like, fuck.
Exactly.
But yeah, this level's good. Like, this is the level where I learned that how OP the Magnum is.
Oh yeah, because those
the
hunters...
one shot to the back of the hunters, which is always just bizarre. But yeah, you forget how powerful the Magnum was on Halo CE.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Especially, I mean, technically it's just sort of a sniper.
It's a sniper with a scope, really.
Wait, you can zoom in with it, so guess you could call it sniper,
but
in its own way.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, this mission's a lot shorter as well. It's not too long. You only have to go down, press a couple of buttons, then that's it. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what else there was. I mean, it is on an island, if I remember correctly, and it's one of the multiplayer maps as well, which I can't remember the name of.
I love the Silent Cartographers. To be honest, it may be one of my favourite levels of the game.
Plus, I always found the intro to the level quite memorable as well. Just when I was younger, it always reminded me of D-Day, so, which I guess I can see the resemblance now thinking about it. But I mean, it's on a beach, so that's obviously why. It's a good level. I like this one. I would rate it a 8 again, I think.
I would rate it a 9 out of 10. Just because it's a nice, beautiful level, because as you're on it, it's like you said, it's on an island, you get to look out across the kind of water and just see, you see the rest of the ring, but it overall would just look stunning and beautiful, no matter if you're looking at the old graphics or new graphics. I
mean, Halo 1 is even as old as it is now. Bungie have always done a fantastic job with the skyboxes.
Definitely.
They're just always incredible.
It's definitely one of those games that you can find yourself just stopping for a minute just to admire the skybox. Like I said, for this rating, I would definitely give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, it is. Oh yeah, like I said, it's definitely my favourite one. I think that one.
Definitely, but as we go on through these levels now, this is where obviously our descriptions of the level are going to get a little bit shorter, because this is where we do kind of agree it starts to fall off a bit.
Yeah, these aren't my favourite levels now. I mean, like I've already brought up, I mean, the level design on Halo C isn't great, but in terms of obviously the time period it came out,
limitations.
Yeah, but not just that, just like setting the standard for first-person shooters on console. It's still pretty mind-blowing.
Definitely. But after the silent cartographer now, it's the assault in the control room. It's the first time you're introduced to the scorpion tank, which is just beautiful in itself.
Yes, so sorry, I'm struggling. I always get confused between this level and the there's two betrayals.
Well, to be fair though, it is basically the same level, just reversed, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, for part of it, I think, from what I remember. Yeah, again, this is another mission that drags on for probably a lot longer than it should do. Is this the one where you go across the bridge?
Yeah,
and you go down.
Yeah, in the tank.
The elevator. Yeah. Oh, actually, no, it's not. It's this one. You go across the bridges.
Yeah, this one
bridges are annoying on on Legendary.
Yeah, for
especially
this
in
one,
two betrayals when the flood are on it afterwards.
Yeah, for this one is I like and don't like this level. It's fun when you get to use the tank, and you will encounter a few Marines on the way. So you will. Kind of laugh about that because obviously they mean well, but they don't really help. So they don't. But it is an enjoyable level. So it is, but because it's the first time you encounter the tank, but there's nothing much too special to it. Because as you're making it through a kind of snowy biome. With a little bit alien structures in between and kind of finding your way. There's not much to talk about this level. So there is, but it's okay. I would rate it a 7 out of 10. And the only reason it's kind of, again, it's higher than a 5 or 6 is because you get introduced to the Scorpion tank. What would you rate it?
6.
6?
I think. I mean, when I was younger, I always loved vehicle levels, so I automatically like this stuff a lot more. You get to use the tank for a good majority of it, but again, yeah, it drags on a bit.
Yeah. After that level is now we're going on to a definitely actually iconic level, because it introduces an iconic enemy, and what this level is 343 Guilty Spark. And the thing that makes this level unique is as soon as you jump into it, you're in a kind of jungle setting. Get to the alien structure, as I'm just going to refer to all these structures. You start making your way down, and then you basically find out that the Marines before you met a certain enemy that easily killed them. And it was after that beautiful video you find out the new enemy, which is the Flood, which, love or hate them, it's an enemy you're going to deal with through the whole series.
Yes.
How do you feel about the Flood?
Fine. Not too bad in Halo 2 and 1. At least I found they're a lot better in Halo 3 just because there's a bit more variation. But the one thing I will say about this game in particular is fuck the ones with the rocket launchers.
Oh yeah.
They could just fuck off. Just fuck off.
Good thing is you don't have to encounter them until the next level. But with 343 Guilty Spark is a iconic level because, like I said, it's the first time you meet the Floods, and it's quite an interesting battle, as in going through them. Because the reason why they're named so apt for them is they kind of flood you, they surround you. So they do, and it's quite overwhelming at first, especially on Legendary, trying to make your way up. Going through the confusing corridors where actually the samey kind of corridors and stuff like that really plays to it, because it makes you kind of feel a bit panicked because you're getting shot from all sides, surrounded with the Floods, but you're also trying to find your way out. And the thing is, when we're playing through, is we met a lot of dead ends on the way.
The easiest way to do this on Legendary is just run.
Oh yeah, which we end up doing.
I know. I think that's the quickest way we managed to do it. Just run through it.
But it is interesting, it is fun, and it's when you get back outside is where it gets a bit trickier again. because you have to try to find the bit where you got to go, which is easy when you shoot them all, but as soon as you run, it's a bit confusing. So it's just trying to find our way quickly to it, but we did it.
But yeah, I think this level in particular is the start of where the level design really starts to get a bit
samey.
Yeah, very much so. Especially this one in particular, because you're basically just running through the same corridors and then going down the lift, and then doing the exact same again.
When you're talking about samey, it definitely reminds me of the next level, which I actually like. I know it's a very controversial opinion, but I think see the reason I like this next level is because of our experience with it. But what were you going to say there, Will?
I don't think the library is as bad as what people say.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, it is quite boring to look at, because it's basically a giant circle.
Repeated.
But I have a lot of fun with this level. I like it.
The same.
I like the library. Yes, it is really annoying on Legendary, just because there's literally nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So it ends up turning into a bit like a horde mode.
Yeah.
The flood. But yeah, once you get up to about the second elevator, at least you're like, thank God there's only one more to go up, because you end up just going through basically all the floors are pretty much exactly the same. Yeah, but it's not too bad. I still find it fun to play, especially with the shotgun.
Yeah. See,
plus you can get ahead of the flood quite easily by just when it gets to that point where you've got those doors that open.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I know doors open, shock. I was trying to think of a way to explain how they open. That doesn't sound.
Yeah, they open up in a kind of diamond.
Yeah, but luckily you can just grenade jump.
Yeah.
Up, which is really handy on Legendary, because for some reason with Halo 1, the higher the difficulty, the less damage grenades do. Which I guess makes sense, but it makes grenade jumping impossible on easy, because it just instantly kills you.
But no, I definitely love the library, because like we mentioned before, it is controversial because it is very samey, and a lot of people, the things that they complained about it in the original was it's so samey, it's easy to get lost. But they fixed that when it got to the remaster of it, because they added on little arrows, basically stop you from going the wrong direction. But I love this, because the first experience I had with it was when we were playing co-op on Legendary, where it was very difficult at the start, because as soon as you start and you move about 10 meters forward, all of a sudden you're bombarded with every flood there is. There's shotgun ones, there's assault rifle ones. I don't think there's any rocket launcher ones yet, but yeah, it is an experience, very overwhelming experience. But as soon as you get past that, where we just kind of really try to sprint past, and we did get through, it does get to the same bit over and over and over again, but we use that to our advantage, where we started to find a bit where we could skip through, like kind of use a fast track in a way and avoid flood. But in this level, it overall was fun, so it was, and we did play it 1.5 times, and the reason for that is when we're flying all our way up to the top and we got close to the end, the game decided we're going to disconnect us both, and this was late.
Oh, of course, I forgot about this.
And I think it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. So
it might have been, yeah.
Because when we played through it, this was during lockdown, so we weren't really getting up early in the morning for work. It was kind of like a big shock to us at first when we decided to do that, but we were determined we wanted to complete it that night. So we jumped straight back on it and we did it faster, going through all the same corridors again, This time what took us an hour to get to, we only took us 20 minutes.
Yeah, I remember it took us ages to actually get to. I think we did the.
I think we got to the first hold off area, where we had to do the grenade jump for.
Yeah, and then I think we got to the second elevator, and then we were on the level for maybe about. Well, it was like nearly 2 hours, wasn't it? At that point. Then the game crashed. I was like, fuck.
But be honest, because of that, I think that ironically is what made it such a impactful mission for me and why I overall love it. Because like I said, while we're making it through, we're discovering little tricks and all that to get through, because as we play Halos, we like to try and break the game, like find little workarounds. But as we did that, I'm not going to talk much about that because you did cover on it. We got through and then we got off to the first hold off area where we did manage to kind of cheat, because we were able to use kind of grenade jumps to get through the little hole in the wall, which allowed us to basically progress through the level faster and just run through. But it was a fun level. Not much to talk about because, like I say, it's just a repeat again. The one thing I will mention at the end is the end part. The end run is where it starts to introduce rocket launcher floods, which was a nice, interesting experience.
Yeah, you think you're getting a bit closer and then you just get a rocket launcher to the face.
And I just remembered what the technique is we used to get through this level. And what it was is one of us went ahead and one of us stayed back. And that way we'd never both get reset to the end of a checkpoint. Well, back to the start of the checkpoint, because let's just say you run ahead and I'm staying back. You're getting killed again and again by these floods because there's rocket launcher ones, but we're never getting reset back to checkpoint because we're using like the other person as a respawn point. And we took turns obviously doing that, but it was just so much fun, just doing stuff like that. And it was like, it felt like a game where you normally have limited lives, you now for all of a sudden have unlimited lives, so you can be riskier. But overall it was a nice level. I would probably rate it 7, maybe 8 out of 10. Actually, I probably would give it an 8 out of 10 on a good day. What about you?
Probably going to give it a 6.5 just to be awkward.
Oh.
Just because it is. Actually, no, fuck it, 7. I'm not going to rate it any more than that just because of the actual design of it, but it is fun. And I feel like that's the main thing.
Yeah. But after this level, I would definitely say start to drop off here.
Yeah, this is where Halo 1 always loses me at this point, the next couple of levels.
Yeah, because after the library, it moves on to 2 betrayals. And 2 betrayals...
It's just long.
And it is literally just assault in the control room, repeated but reversed. But there is a little bit of differences. And the way it does mix it up is it starts to have a lot more of in the air moments using banshees. And what you do is you gotta go to certain little bits and activate a little point and then leave. But overall, it's not too bad. I'm pretty sure this is the one we managed to find a skip where if we're fast enough we can get to one of the banshees.
Yes, you can. Yeah. I just remembered as well. I remember the fun with the bit where you're in the banshee and you have to go through that tunnel, and then literally right at the bottom of the tunnel there's the flood with the rocket launchers.
Oh yeah.
That took a few attempts.
This bit, yeah. It was annoying with the flood. Definitely annoying with the flood. But to be honest, I can't remember much of the level, so I'm not going to, stick on this level too much.
Is this the level where at the end where you have to defeat the wraiths? And, like, there's loads of enemies. Like the invisible elites, or was that? See, this is the trouble with.
But that was the assault in the control room.
Yeah.
So
this is the trouble with Halo 1. sometimes.
It's easy to get confused.
It's very easy to get confused between the levels. Especially since most of them you end up just, you go through, there's a lot of backtracking.
Definitely. See, be honest, I haven't got much to say about this level. Have you got much more to say about this level?
Not really. I, probably rate it about a 3. It's probably my least favourite one.
Yeah, I would probably go 4. But, yeah. After that one, 2 betrayals, we go into the mission keys, which I was actually talking about earlier. I kind of got confused. This shows you how frazzled my brain is. But keys, so like 2 betrayals, it feels like a reskin. Keys it's basically Truth or Reconciliation, but the first half is a little bit different. But it's used in the same part, the ship again. But obviously there's changes to it, but it still makes it feel a bit samey.
Yeah, I can't really think of too much to say about this level, to be honest. It's a bit of an awkward one.
The bit when you're outside the ship's fun, but when you're in the ship it's not so fun, I feel.
It always took me ages to find the Easter egg for you get the achievement for finding Keys' pipe.
I don't know if I've got that. I might not.
I think you have, because I think I mentioned to you at the time when we were going through it on Legendary.
Well, for this level, I'm going to split them up, Sam. So, with the bit when you're out of the ship, I would say it's fun, because you've got to deal with the flood. So you do, and I think some of the Covenant, and it's kind of fun in the sense of you're always on the move. It's very linear, but it's a fun kind of linear where it feels like you're kind of trying to fight your way through a horde. But there's not much I can talk about it. But when you go into the ship, it's just when it gets a bit boring. The only thing that's kind of unique-ish about it is it's the ship from Truth and Reconciliation, but it's destroyed a bit and the flood's there. And then obviously Keys, spoiler, is kind of been getting, frisky with the flood.
Yeah, he gets turned into a proto-grave mind, which is always a bit, it just gives you the creeps when you see it. But yeah, I mean, I'd probably rate this one a 3. Again, to me, it's not that memorable, and it's just like most of the other levels. It's just a repeat of areas you've already been to, but slightly modified.
It's just a bit of a bore fest.
Yeah, it's not a great one. This one. But I feel like I'm being too negative at the moment about most of these levels, but I'm not. I still love Halo 1. It's just the missions just not. They're not the best. I mean, thank God all the other levels in Halo 2 and 3 and so on are a lot better. Considering it's the first one.
Definitely. It's not the best, but it's not the worst at least. But I've got nothing much to say about that level. So I'm thinking, do you want to jump on to the last level?
Might as well, because this is probably my favourite level.
See, I would say it's up there, but it's not my favourite level. But you can't help but love the end. But we'll leave that to later.
But yes, I do like the more it's... it's nice because you feel like you come full circle. So you start going through the Pillar of Autumn again, through the majority of the areas that you went through at the very beginning. And now, of course, you go through it whilst it's crashing and burning. But yeah, I like the first area. The first area is cool. And then you have to do the bit with where you have to blow up the whatever they are. I can't even remember now. That area is a bit annoying at times because it's just an endless amount of flood. But yeah, it's not bad. But yeah, it's definitely the tail end of the mission that I think everybody likes.
Yeah. This is a thing where I think it's a bit ironic because I've I've been kind of slagging the two betrayals and keys for being kind of a reskin, where, because like you mentioned, this is a return to the Pillar of Autumn, but I feel this is when it does it. It repurposes the first level, but makes it fun. Because it's similar areas, but opens up a bit more. So it does, but it is fun and it brings in the floods, which can be a hit or miss sometimes. But I think it does the floods okay to good. Some moments it's okay, some it is good. But what I love about it is, if you do explore a little bit, you can actually find the armory and get some rocket launchers, which makes it a bit more fun. But as you're going through the level, and fighting for the corridors or anything like that, there's nothing really too special to mention other than that, because there's no kind of big set pieces, because it leaves it to the later part of the level. But as you go through that, you meet Guilty Spark, which I didn't talk about earlier, but it's the monitor of basically this ring.
Yeah.
But it's this time you've kind of got to deal with them, and how you do that is you've got to destroy the ship by destroying 4 parts of it, and by shooting a rocket into it or throwing grenades in. So it's kind of like a boss battle without a boss battle, I would say.
Yeah, I guess you can look at it that way.
It's okay, but it's not the important part of the level, because the important part of the level is the fun part, which is a staple in some of the Halo games.
The Warthog Run.
Yes, the Warthog Run, and it's where you always get the most iconic moment of the game.
Which is weird, because it's, obviously it's iconic. There was only 2 games did the Warthog Run. I was surprised they didn't do more.
I feel like, to be honest, the way they did it was perfect, because it's at the start of the trilogy and at the end of the trilogy.
That's true.
And it's...
but yeah, it's great, but there's nothing like feeling how sweaty your palms get on this level, trying to get to the end without crashing the Warthog that drives like it feels like you're on ice.
Oh yeah, because you got that, and you've also got to deal with floods, and as well as deal with a timer. But yeah, I love the Warthog Run. The Warthog Run was beautiful. Yeah,
so the amount of times that you get to the end and you fuck up and there's only like 2 seconds left, you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. Or you just always end up going up those little jumps and then always end up coming out of it. Yeah.
But overall, it was really fun. Like, one of the iconic moment things. Unfortunately, we can't really think of much to talk about it, because it is just, as it says in the tin, it's a Warthog Run, where you've got to get to a certain point where you can get picked up by the Warthog, you can get picked up by the Pelican, but as soon as you get to that bit, you basically, the game's like, nah, you're not doing that, and it messes with the Pelican, so you can't get picked up, and then you got to get to the next point, where you got to fly away in the sword. I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's called the sword, I'm pretty sure. I don't know what the Covenant's aircraft.
Spirit.
Yeah, Spirit, that's it. So sorry, I apologize to anyone who's like just screaming at the screen or anything like that when I mentioned that. I know I'm gonna cry myself asleep tonight.
Disgusting.
But when you get to that, you get to the sword. Depending on what difficulty you played on, changes the ending. And are you wanting to mention what's so iconic about the legendary ending?
What, the Master Chief has a helmet under his helmet?
No. It's something with Johnson.
Oh, the legendary end. Oh, of course you're on about that. Yeah, the whole game. But the real question, how does he make it off?
Exactly. I don't know, it's something got to be with that Lee gets a bit frisky with. Puts his hand in the ass, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly.
Johnson had the sex.
Oh yeah, that's what saved him. That's why he was so willing to trust elites in the future, but we'll save that for a future podcast. An X-rated one when Johnson's in it. Yeah, but
The Johnson and the Elite.
mm-hmm.
It's like 50 Shades of Grey of Halo.
Yes.
He comes back from that one. It'd be funny if like there was an Easter egg somewhere you just saw him stuck in a picture of the Elite.
Oh yeah. Should you have it like you like seeing the crow's nest? There should have been in the third one. There should have been you find a wee office like Sergeant Johnson, and it's just a picture of Elite, him and Elite hugging each other.
He's got a framed photo on his desk.
It's like titled "My Beloved." It would be perfect, but yeah, that's the end of like all the missions. So with that there, then like I said when I mentioned you go into the sword, you do fly away, and then well obviously you go into Halo 2.
I'd rate that level an 8.
Oh, I would rate it an 8 as well. Maybe a 9 just because the Warhol runs that extra special. You know, fuck it, I'm gonna give it a 9.
Oof. Calm down.
I know. It's 20 minutes past midnight, so I'm getting a bit more, woo. Overall, Halo Combat Evolved, amazing game.
Died my favourite gaming series.
Yeah.
And like for the both of us and many others, that grew up playing it.
Exactly. But yeah, it's a very iconic game. It was
good but flawed.
Yes. But it kicked off first-person shooters and revolutionised them for consoles. Really kind of changed how they went. Good game. I'm glad it was actually one of the games we first started. Well, it's one of the games we chose to start off this kind of podcast stuff that we're going to do. Because for those who don't know, is that we do plan to make a lot of podcasts that are focused on in particular game, where it's not going to be a deep dive. Because, well, I was trying to do a deep dive and that's a joke in itself. Because that involves a lot of research and that is not our strong point. Where our strong point is playing the games. Well, that makes us seem like professionals. We're definitely not professionals. We're professional idiots on the other hand. But yeah, it's overall a great game and I'm glad that's the game we could have started with. But like I said, we're plan to make a lot of podcasts that are focused on a particular game, or sometimes 2 games, depending on how much we can talk about a game. And we're just going to talk about how it is in the game, and we're not going to do a deep dive. We're just going to break it up and structure how it feels. For Halo, we just decided to break it mission by mission and rank it as we go along. And that's all we can really say about that one. Is there anything else you're wanting to add, Will?
No, I don't think so.
No?
I think it will probably be Resi that we end up talking about next, won't it?
Yes. Most likely Resident Evil Village, because that's the one that's freshest in our mind.
Yeah, that should be good. I need to go back and replay it.
Same. I'll be a wee quick playthrough, or I'm going to be in a day and just like, nah, I'm going to do Village or Shadows, Difty. But that is going to be for a future podcast. Maybe the next one, may not. Who knows? That'll be the next game one that we focused. But for those who have listened, thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to us ramble.
Thank you indeed. If you have made it this far, definitely thank you. You've definitely got a lot of patience. So you do. But like I said, we are very grateful for those who are watching. We are currently trying to get an email set up for any questions that anyone may want to ask or anything like that. But if someone does want to ask any questions or anything like that, you can contact us on our social media, which is, well, we got TikTok and we have Instagram. Instagram kind of went a bit more focused because TikTok we just decided to make that up just to post little gaming clips that we have. But Instagram would probably be the best one to contact us on until we got the email set up. But yes, I'm pretty sure that is a perfect place to end off. Unless you got anything else you want to add, Will?
That's all from me.
Yep. Just like to say thank you, and if you can, if it's not too much hassle, leave us a 5-star review on Spotify, because it helps a lot with the algorithm. You'll be surprised how much it helps with. But yes, all I've got to say now is bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.